right, and good morning. Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is hashtag Y in the Morning. My good name is Brian Sakwa. Find us on our socials at Y254 channel on the hashtag which is Y in the Morning. Remember, we've also shared our question of the day right over there. We'd love to read your feedback towards the tail end. And if I'm not, my co-star Stephanie will definitely sample. Now, in this conversation, we're delving into how to sustain a business, especially from the start. If you are a young entrepreneur who has a vision, a dream of being in the entrepreneurial space, more so specifically in business, what exactly does it take for you to build your business from scratch until it matures in terms of pricing, placement, and even facing the competition and the harsh reality of the world that comes with being a business? That and much more. And we're going to hear from an incredible gentleman who's live with us in studio, Charles Adinda. Charles Arnold Adinda is an entrepreneur who studied accounting, by the way, in university, but then all of a sudden, the way things just happen to you and you find yourself doing something that definitely you love, but has a similar interest in what you pursued. That's the story of Charles from Stories and Socks. Good morning to you, Charles. Great to have you here.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic and great to have you. So for those that don't know your story, please let them know right about now. How did you transition from being an accountant professionally, what you studied for, to now being a young business owner?
Well, I was a professionally trained accountant. Studied that and even graduated after 4 years. Worked in the industry for about a year, just doing internships and sort of like finding my footing with regard to career. Mm-hmm. However, the main transition came when I realized that career did not capture the full spectrum of my calling. I feel like sometimes people can go to offices and you can get addicted to the 8 to 5 and the salary that comes. So the change for me came when I realized I can actually be in more control of my life and still be able to create value and put it out there. The process to actually actualizing that is not as easy because when you leave the 8 to 5 space, you cannot predict consistent income, which means there has to be a period of teething, a period of growing, learning the ropes. For me, the major thing was community. I think community stewarded me just through that process, that process of growing, that process of teething, so that eventually then, when I was able to come to a certain point of cash flow, liquidity, then at least now I was let for my wings to fly. But I could say the biggest thing that helped me in that transition, accounting to entrepreneurship, was definitely community.
Right. Yeah. And in this community, what is in there? Because I think I've hosted so many entrepreneurs on this segment, and what usually crops up commonly is having an entrepreneurial, mindset here. So was it an idea? Was it being a creative, or it came from inspiration? Now that you've mentioned community and teething, those are the two words I've picked when you were explaining.
Wow. Well, community is people. You don't get into entrepreneurship if you don't have entrepreneurial minds around you, because they are able to guide you. There are particular things that they've gone through that they can actually help you either take advantage of or not have to go through, either or. So community for me was friends, family that have been in that space before, and just being able to either give words of wisdom or opportunities or a few insights into what was needed. Most of the businesses are actually in Kenya primarily are usually, because of the high capital cost, are started as solopreneurships. So people have a particular amount of money, they invest it in a particular industry to try and see if it works. But if you don't have community, your business will remain a solopreneurship. The largeness of business is always about partnerships, your ability to coordinate your value with the value other people are offering to produce something else in the market. So that was essentially
Okay, good. But I also feel like when you're an entrepreneur, you're solving a problem. You're solving up, and that's what's called now the market or the niche. So maybe what was the niche that you saw was a gap and you decided to fill before you came into the Stories and Socks initially before? What was...
The niche is described by that name, stories and socks. Because you see, stories and socks is a combination of two things. What we aim to do is to unlock the stories of men so that they can walk into the future with confidence.
Yeah, how?
So the how is, the stories part of it is the ability, basically, whether we're talking talk shows, whether we're talking direct engagement, whether we're talking basically using language to be able to give people the right perception of themselves, a value perception.
Okay, and now in terms of the goods that you are
then the
giving,
goods, the goods come into the socks, right? The socks talk about the walk, right? So we're unlocking people's internal so that they can walk into the future with confidence.
Yeah, okay. And now, so when a man is coming to purchase socks from your apparel or your shop, maybe what are they expecting? What are the types of socks in terms of now the stories aspect?
Well, in terms of, so every sock tells a different story for me.
Are they like designed socks or just ordinary socks?
They are, in fact, right now what we're working on is African print on socks, because that is, African print on socks.
Okay.
It's one of those things that's very rare.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but
sounds rare.
Yeah, but basically every print tells a different story. So we have from everything from plain socks to dotted socks to checkered socks, and they apply in different environments, to happy socks and our definition of happy, to no-show socks, to even sport socks. You see, every sock is a representation of a particular story someone is walking. Yeah. So we combine the sock and we unlock the story.
Yeah. That's what. And why men specifically and not like a general niche? Yeah.
Simply because...
Did you notice something with the men that you said, you know what, I'll address it via my business,
Firstly, I think it's men's stories that are most locked in this generation.
Okay.
I do. I think men have not taken ownership of their stories, and what that means, therefore, is that they are functioning according to labels that have been given prior. I truly believe that. Men have not yet taken ownership of their narrative enough to be bold. So you find most men in this generation don't know how to handle empowered women. It becomes a difficult thing. Yeah. So that's number one.
Profound, okay.
Yeah, why I actually chose men. But also because I don't think a business can serve everybody. I think for every business, businesses run on strategies. Anything you don't run on strategy is bound to fail. So you've got to be able then to define what is my target niche. And if you look at myself, at least I can tell you this without fear of contradiction. I've actually been a man all my life. I've been a male all my life. So you see, just the fact that experience and learning the challenges that come with manhood, what that looks like, and how to infuse confidence, how to infuse the right perception of ourselves, that we can actually step into the future with boldness. That is why I chose men.
Yeah, fantastic. I love the way it's now carving into men from business. But rare as well, like you've said, I think the word is exceptional. It's exceptional to see a business that men centered and focused, because rarely, if you research and look at some of the, let's say, entrepreneurs and even some of the biggest brands or labels, rarely do you just see this is a men's, specific, product and so much more. But also now, when it comes to you finding the products of what you're selling, so where do you get the raw material? And initially, at first, maybe did you have a business plan, and what was in the business plan in terms of now having to satisfy the niche men as your target?
So essentially, professionally, I'm not trained in the apparel space, which means my business plan was first one of discovery. Get into the market, what is present in the market, which means...
So you are risking and just,
Yeah, going to the market, learn from one client to another, referrals, observation, right? So basically...
So what did you discover in the learning stage? Because I think that's where you take a lot of notes, and also that's where you hit a dead end a lot. And now you learn the hard way, and that you say, you know what, this is not going to be my...
There was a lot to discover, there was a lot to discover concerning many things. What do you want exactly?
Yeah, what you discovered, literally.
Wow. Firstly, I discovered from a business standpoint, most people build businesses for lifestyle, not for legacy.
Meaning?
Which means most people start businesses to finance their lifestyle.
That's just hand to mouth.
Yeah, so what they're looking for is a particular margin of profit that can pay rent, maybe buy food, maybe just to cover the basics.
Hand to mouth.
Yeah. Now, the decision I made, I believe in starting small, but I don't believe in starting a small business. I think I believe in starting a big business in a small way. It's
Literally,
yeah,
that's how it happens.
You've got to be, the vision has to be bigger than your starting point. Your starting point, not withstanding. So that's
so most people start business for lifestyle.
For lifestyle, not for legacy. I don't even think that the primary purpose of business is profit. I think profit is the result of business. I think the primary purpose of business is what you mentioned earlier. Problem solving, purpose. So we've got to be able to see what problem is actually being solved practically. Who has a testimony of a problem that you solved through your product?
Okay.
Very important. Today,
and that should be from your clients mostly,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It should definitely be from your clients. So your ability to get feedback, your ability to learn from your clients, your ability to not just offer the product like a sales pitch, but to listen to the client to understand what really is the challenge. What is the problem?
And how am I solving it?
And how am I solving it?
Okay. I think that again creates some sort of like a return clients when now they become loyal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, talk to us now when you kick-started, because your business is stories and socks, yeah? So when did it kick off, and how has the experience been for, because you said of the air is 6 months now. Please tell us.
Yeah, it kicked off about 6 months ago.
Meaning you started in Jan 2025, and
meaning
time
I started
maandamano kenda kudai
somewhere,
down.
like I started around May, June 2025.
Oh, you started in May, not in Jan.
Yeah,
okay.
Not in Jan.
So half the year, half close to the year.
So it's like, from the second quarter till now, about 6 months or so. That's when I started. The experience has been quite good. It's a very huge learning curve.
Because what have you learned? You know, when you say it's a learning curve.
Huge learning curve.
Have you made losses? Have you had dents? Have you been auctioned? Has there been massive profits?
So initially, what you learn, just initially at the entry stage, you've got, a lot of us are yet to prove to ourselves that we can sell a product. I think we've proven to ourselves that we can do jobs.
So you've gained that confidence.
The confidence, the biggest validation for any businessman, they will tell you, it is the day you realize I can actually go out there, sell a product and get money.
Yeah, but though you've said we have proven, not I have, so meaning that you guys are a group?
Yeah, I fellowship every week with a group of entrepreneurs. There's a group of entrepreneurs that we just come together. Most of my friends actually, and we talk about things around that. So the first thing I learned upon entry was that validation is the most important thing. Don't get into something in a big way before you validate the concept. Is there a market? Can you sell? Now, once you validate it, the next stage is scaling. Scaling means how can you improve how can you market your product so that it can be the premium product? For example, everyday people buy socks. The question is, why do they not buy it from Stories and Socks? Can it be when you think socks, you think Stories and Socks? The same way when you think margarine, you think Blue Band.
Yeah. Okay.
The next stage is scaling. Now, scaling, this is the problem.
So how are you going to scale? Because I believe you can only scale sometimes when you've made profit, and in fact, you're not even using that profit to expand your business. Yeah. In fact, it's outside resources that are, helping this business to birth another business or even another venture.
That's one way of looking at it.
That is another version of it. Yeah. So how are you planning to establish it as a blueprint in the
scaling? For me, scaling is more a matter of relationships more than it is of revenue.
Okay.
And what that means is, because your business serves a particular niche or is directed in a particular way, you can't serve everybody.
Right.
What you've got to do if you want to scale is partnership.
Okay.
So for example, I started with socks as my primary product.
Right.
But it is the same people who wear socks are the ones who wear shoes.
Yeah, are the ones who wear khakis as well.
Are the ones who wear khakis,
and shirts,
right?
And you've said there's also a variety of products.
A variety of products, right.
Okay.
So in fact, first I partnered with, there's one of my friends who brought in the capital for the khakis and all that. Because it was like, okay, the same people who, why don't we, instead of just selling one product, sell an entire look?
Yeah.
Right? The same people who wear shoes wear socks. So again, one of my other friends is selling shoes. We're like, okay, how can we create a partnership to be able to ensure that for everywhere we sell shoes, they actually can get socks? So you've got to think growth in terms of bringing other players. For example, sometimes we also have online accounts, which means that a lot of people order online.
Yeah.
Again, if they order online, it means delivery has to happen.
Yeah.
So again, you've got to partner with someone who's doing
All right. Okay,
delivery.
cool. So who are some of the clients that flock your shop? You said it's best at Kiambu Road.
Yeah. A majority of my clients as a brand are actually online. I'm a huge
So meaning
majority.
you've established an online presence
I do
for
have,
yourself.
I do have an online
What
presence.
platform mostly?
Instagram. Instagram.
Why Instagram?
Why Instagram? I just found it to be a good place to grow. I found that most businesses, in terms of the purpose of the platform, vis-a-vis other platforms, so vis-a-vis Facebook or TikTok, Instagram is more business-centered. I found it to be that in terms of my experience. TikTok is more entertainment-centered, so you can create entertainment content and then market your products.
Yeah. But I'm sure you're not closeted to just IG. You'll definitely expand
No,
to TikTok.
definitely. Like I actually market on TikTok, but on my personal
On your
on my
handle.
personal
Okay.
handle.
But mostly Instagram.
Instagram.
What age bracket mostly? And
Mostly.
if you were to rate them, maybe in
Those
terms
who have
of
bought
their
my products
social status, are they employed, students, just ordinary mwananchi?
Most of who have bought my products are actually between the age of 25 and 34. So we are talking guys just fresh out of campus.
Yeah. Working class still as well.
Maybe on their first or second jobs, if they're in the working class. On their first or second jobs. So people who need variety.
It's Gen Z / millennial.
Gen Z millennials.
What about Wazai? Lockout.
No, I think
Mabudengs?
I think the reason that's the majority of my clients, because I checked my analytics. The reason that's my majority is because people buy you before they buy your product.
Good one.
So they bought me. First of all, I represent my generation.
Okay.
That's number one, without a doubt. But I represent an entrepreneur as a zillennial. I'm actually a zillennial who stands for something, sells a particular product, but also the brand is not so much Stories and Socks. The brand is so much Charles Adinda, the person I have been in most spaces. In fact, I've gotten a lot of clients who have bought my products, not necessarily because they need them at the moment, but because they're like, we're buying you as a person. We trust you. You are a great guy. We trust your vision.
Yeah, so there's that customer loyalty and buyer to seller relationship. Yeah. Now, where do you get your stock for your shop?
A lot of my stock is actually imported
from what country?
China, from the East. That's something, again, that was an entry level strategy because they're the most available products.
Yeah.
But
so you ship?
You ship or sometimes partner with those who are shipping to actually bring them in. Yeah.
So you go for the bells when they are delivered.
When they're delivered, right? Okay. But that was an entry-level strategy. The bigger aim is this. We want to be able to tell the African story. And what that means is you cannot tell the African story without having an African-owned product.
Yeah, for sure.
Right from the farm, because most of our products are actually cotton made. So right from the farm to when we present it to the client. Yeah. Right. So we are looking to, as I told you, African socks, just to be able to make the operation localized. It's just that we got into importing because that was the easiest way to get into the market and learn the market before actually.
So how are you going to pivot from imported to now or locally made products?
I think the first step in all that has to be information, right? Research. So you've got to know why have local industries failed, for example. Yeah. Yeah. I think local industries have failed.
And that will touch, I believe, on textile a lot. Yeah. If you'll have to.
Textile. I come from Homa Bay County. Yeah. Right. Okay. My home place is Kindu Bay.
Shout out.
Kindu Bay. Big up Kindu Bay, guys.
Shout out.
And growing up, in fact, when I studied history, Kindu Bay used to be one of the biggest cotton growing areas. Guys used to pick cotton because the black cotton soil was very rich in cotton. Today, you will not find one cotton farm in Kindu Bay. I was there recently. You will not find.
What crop did they replace it with? Rice.
Well, I'm not sure it's so much of a replacement as much as it is either rural-urban migration or even a lot of fishing that has been happening in Lake Victoria. But you find that the reason they stopped cotton farming is because they used to take their cotton and take it to, the primary farm was actually Kikomi in Kisumu. Okay. And it used to be taken via one of the ships that used to go through. The ships used to fly that route. Okay. And today now, there is no, the ships are not available. The government, Kikomi was run down, you know, so I think we have a management issue.
Okay.
And for me, it is how I aim to pivot. I don't want to pivot alone.
Yeah.
And to pivot with people who want to sell Kenya, primarily. So I'm,
Yeah.
I'm gathering a community of entrepreneurs who can be able both to bring the expertise, the influence, and the capital necessary to actually go back to how do we grow
transition
this,
from what you're
transition from
doing
importing
to not local. And I believe that's a very expensive venture, but it's lucrative and it pays off big time, because also when you look at, when you stay at the labels that you see on the shelf, like you can visit any of the fashion outlets, uangalie tu hapo kuna Louis Vuitton, sijui kuna Giuseppe Zanotti, sijui kuna Versace. Rarely do you see this is made by, you know. But also one interesting thing I noted about African products, specifically Kenyans, and I've interviewed, I think she was a lady by name somebody Craft. She designs leather bags and shoes, and they're super expensive. I think the cheapest product from her is 2,000, and that is, I don't know, a wallet, something where you can put your ATM. Yeah. So why are African products extremely expensive compared to imported products, which I also believe that, in fact, imported products have a lot of prominence in the market compared to locally made products. And how are you planning to fight that monster?
I think first, that there are two things to address here. The first thing to address why African products are expensive is because generally, and especially in Kenya, we have not been taught to buy our own. We have not been taught to buy our own, which means we associate affluence or luxury or looking good with something that comes outside.
Foreign.
In fact, do you realize that it is only in Kenya that it is a testimony to go outside the country? Oh, I'm traveling to England, testimony. But the travel is not a testimony. It is what you go and do in England and how you impact your homeland. So the fact that you're going somewhere is should not really be something to make too much noise about, right? But I think it's first a mindset issue why African things are expensive. We've not been trained to really support our own. But secondly,
also, is there a market really for our very own products? Because if you go to, I think was it Sarit, there's a friend who invited me there, and kulikuwa like they're trying to let people know that hizi products ni za Kenya, so mzinunue. Why is it even difficult to let people know that hizi socks ni za Kenya, by the way, hazijatoka si za Beyonce ama za Jay-Z ama sijui who's the latest, is it Chris Brown, the latest in hip hop, zimetoka hapa na ni za Adinda, nunueni. Why is it difficult to convince another Kenyan to buy your very own product?
What percentage of Kenyans' minds are shaped by their Kenyanism? What percentage of that? So the socialites they follow are mostly outside the country. Basically, our culture has been engineered to consume the greatest content not from people locally but outside. Okay. Hence, for that same reason, you'll find, because content is what influences mindset, right? So what you consume is what you will eventually begin to
get used to.
They become your habits, right? So what do we need to? I think our first issue, that's why it is stories and talks. We first need to change the narrative about locally made products. Locally made does not mean lower quality. That is something that needs to go. Locally made does not mean lower luxury, right? That is very important. So the first side is a mindset shift in terms of the people. But I would be lying if I said that was the only problem. I think we also have a management problem with regard to government. The reason African products,
like for example, the Ministry of Trade, and I believe tourism is responsible solely for actually doing a lot of awareness on that, but also these other dockets can still assume.
They can, because you see, the reason African products, in fact Kenyan products particularly, are usually more expensive because we have too many taxes. You see, most China, why people actually import a lot of products from China is because the business environment supports local entrepreneurs. So the government has been able to create a business environment that doesn't create too many bottlenecks for entrepreneurs to enter. Vis-a-vis in Kenya, did you know, for example, in Africa, 70% of businesses fail within their first 1 year, and half of that actually fail within the next 3 years.
I actually read that update, and it was really
imagine that.
Imagine that.
So what should that tell you? Most of our people, number one, are starting small businesses, but those businesses cannot grow because the business environment is not too conducive.
Yeah. Also, the political landscape, how does it play a huge role in nourishing, the thriving of a startup? Because I believe you're also a startup, yeah?
Yeah,
I believe you're a startup, yeah.
I think politically, when we're talking politics, what I think is policies.
Yeah.
Right? Because politics is essentially being able to create policies that can be able to serve the people,
right,
in a nutshell.
So what about the divide between the private and the public sector and the middle ground, hapo katikati?
There should definitely be a public-private partnership with regard to that in terms of sectors. However,
yeah. And then our taxes come in. Policy is what you just said.
Policy. But however, we should know the purposes of these things. For example, the main purpose of government is to produce a good business environment.
Yeah.
That is the main purpose of
public sector to private.
Yeah. Now, private, the private is the people who can come with the investment into these things, and that is very so.
So, do you feel like they are extremely cruel and they are kicking them out?
Not essentially. First of all, I feel like the government is coming into the space of private sector a lot.
Please explain.
And a good example.
Is it in terms of taxes?
Yeah. No. A good example is affordable housing. There is a government should not be building houses.
Where? Our next question. Maybe what are some of the challenges that you'd say you are experiencing as a startup? And also, what is the difference between what you're practicing and a person who is selling second-hand clothes?
So the difference between what I do, I could start with the second question. The difference between what I do versus someone else selling second-hand clothes is my aim. Most people selling second-hand clothes, it's a matter of making money, the biggest margin. So you bring a bale and the turnover, right? The turnover, how fast the stock goes is what directs how much you can get from it.
Yeah.
So you'll find most people who actually sell second-hand clothes are not branded, which means their focus is money. And it's not to say that there's anything wrong with that. It's only to say that from my standpoint, my difference is I'm actually aiming to use my sock brand to unlock the stories of people. So the partnership between stories and socks is my biggest.
Okay. What about pricing now? Are they affordable products, the ones that you sell?
They are. They are.
How much is a pair of socks now that it's designed stories?
So a pair of socks ranges anything from 100 shillings to 200. So 200 is the maximum.
Why not 50 to 100 and then 100 to now going up?
One, because even with regard to quality of product, so my products are actually, if you go, the difference between what I offer versus someone in Mtumba is mine are actually manufactured, they're new. Mtumba, the word Mtumba in English is thrift, which means they're usually used products, right? So number one, because they are quality, never been used, there is just a higher price margin for that. But also because of their specificity. You see, I can define what I am offering. Most people, again, in the Mtumba business, it is a bale that is open. People come and buy. But for me, what I offer for my clients is consistency.
Yeah.
And what that means, therefore, is with the consistency I offer, people can actually trust in me. They can say, if I want good quality, new, plain socks, stories on socks. If I want some dotted socks, if I want that.
Okay. Has there been feedback, and what are they saying in terms of customer service? And also, do you operate as a standalone in the sales in the sales and marketing part, or you have a crew of people that work with you in your shop? You've said it's at Kiambu Road.
It's along Kiambu Road. Yeah. Along actually Ruaka Banana Road. So just to be precise, Ruaka Banana Road. So are there any help I get? Of course, I get a lot of help.
Yeah. So who's in the shop when you're not there? Like now you're on TV.
So I run the shop, but the shop usually opens just about 9 a.m. or so.
But you said it's prominently available online.
It is. It is very available online. Right now I'm running the shop with another one of my friends. So we are doing a partnership with regard to timings and even capital strategy. I just don't believe in doing things alone.
Yeah.
So that's one. In terms of feedback, there's actually been a lot of positive feedback.
What are they saying?
First, I remember like last week, a client was telling me socks are not something people go for, especially men, and especially even single men.
Oh,
It's not
why?
something they buy.
Uh-huh.
Socks is not something people connect to, and I'm using socks a lot just as a representation of the other products, right? But
Why?
socks are not something people buy, people plan to buy. So utapata, especially for men, and especially for single men.
Right. Yeah.
Napitia someone like
Si mimi naonanga tu maboys
si mimi
wanapiga
naonanga
luku.
tu mazee kuna nini.
But me upiga luku bro wanavaa socks. I might depends with the person, with the type of dude as well. Because if somebody is stylish, at least there's a way socks is in your hall.
But they don't plan
code.
it. They don't plan the buying
to
of
go
socks.
purchasing socks.
They buy it randomly. Like
Yeah,
any
for
other,
sure.
maybe kuna say so they buy
Relatable.
one pair like that. What that actually means for most men is there's a lack of variety. So one of the feedbacks I've gotten is we love your variety. We love the fact that we can come to you. If I need a sock for official wear, I get it. If I need one for just for sneakers, a good ankle socks, I can get it. If I need one that actually wears my personality,
So
happy
in casual official slash.
casual, yeah, the socks
Luku slash office.
slash office slash
Office
gyms,
Yeah.
fitness.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So it's a whole spectrum of dress code. Yeah, so I don't know, have you faced any competition since you started your business? Because also, I believe being in Czech, most of the time, at least you have to study and, peep through your competitors and see, how are they running the business? Even in this job, in this media space, you have to have competitors who keep you in check or, who give you sleepless nights, and that makes you to stay on guard. So who are some of your competitors?
I really don't believe in competition.
Why not?
Simply because I believe anyone who is looked at as a competitor is simply a potential someone you can complement and actually work with. So for example, there are many other people, there are many other brands that sell men's apparel. Right?
Okay.
But this is the thing. I think the market is still too big for most of us.
Okay.
Which means if peradventure I've run out of something and a client wants it urgently, I simply recommend it to the person the other person who is selling, the other brand that is selling.
Yeah.
So which means we are complementing one another as opposed to competing. If they have been in the industry longer than me, they can teach me one or two things. Here you do this, here you do this. This is how we overcame this. So I believe in reaching a common ground where anything, there's a book that talks about red ocean and blue ocean strategy, which means red ocean is what you're saying, sharks eating everybody, man eat man. Blue ocean is being able to find where you guys were competing, can you guys actually come and complement together? So I don't necessarily
collaboration
collaboration. And because of that, and because I think everyone has a distinct and unique print in how they sell things. If everybody in this room begins to sell socks, you will sell it differently.
Yeah.
Because
and I
of
believe that competition will make you carve your
That's
own.
not competition.
Yeah. What is that?
That makes the fact that you will sell it differently. Nobody can sell it like you. Yeah. Which means you can never have
competition. For example, I start selling and I outdo you, and you lack customers or clients.
But you outdoing me does not mean I will lack customers, because you've been called to a particular niche and I've been called to another niche.
Okay, so that's not competition.
That is not competition.
What is that? How do you describe that?
Do you think, let me put some good brands. Do you think Apple competes with Samsung?
No, of course.
Of course not.
But I believe they do. I believe they do.
They don't.
Low-key, I believe.
They don't compete.
Low-key, I believe
because
it's Samsung doing it. That's a good debate. Anyways.
Yeah. So sure, essentially, in that regard, just like that dynamic is also true in the apparel space.
Okay.
In that, there's selling the product, but there's also what you want the product to communicate to the end user. And most of us have different communications, because apparel means different things to
But I know Apple is selling luxury anyways, sophistication. Yeah.
I think the main issue with Apple is privacy. Apple is really selling privacy. Privacy is their biggest thing why people buy Apple. Vis-a-vis Samsung and some of these other brands, what they're selling is convenience. The ability to actually find a good smartphone that is working, just convenience. Normal convenience.
So luxury,
convenience.
Okay.
But if you take an Apple and call, and if you take a Samsung and call, both of them will call.
Okay.
So I believe there's definitely a place of collaboration. When you see someone selling the same product as you in the same market,
don't feel some type of way.
Yeah, and even if they're outdoing you in revenue, ask them how they did it.
But how many entrepreneurs are willing to do that? Yeah.
So now that's an issue. What you've just come to is discipling entrepreneurs or mentoring entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs have to have communities where they're actually mentored into growing. I don't believe a business can grow beyond the growth of the individual. I really don't believe that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Right. The vision, the goal. All right. Now, maybe you can tell us, maybe where do you, you said it's 6 months.
Yeah.
So what are you looking at in 2026? What are you staring at in terms of maybe expansion or more growth or more resources being injected into your
Definitely,
startup?
I think number one, more brand partnerships.
Okay. With who specifically?
I'm realizing the people who sell most in any field are actually niche people. So they sell a particular product. So, you know, you'll not go, now that we're talking about Apple and Samsung, you'll not go to Apple and Samsung and you find oranges around there. We're selling Apple and but utapataka orange. They're selling Apple and Samsung, something specific. So my specific chief product is unlocking the stories of men, right? So I want to partner with like-minded brands who are, number one, are about unlocking people's stories, but number two, are about telling the story of Kenya and Africa in the right way. Brands that are Kenya-centric, selling Kenyan culture.
Okay.
You know, we are
storytelling, Kenyan storytelling.
Kenyan storytelling. How do you, what does it mean for Kenyan culture, who we are, to be present in a product from right there from the seed level to actually selling the product. That entire,
even abroad entirely, because I think we have so many Kenyans who have products who called you. I don't want to mention the brand, but it's a very big brand.
I have. In fact, I think I mentioned the brand that you're talking about.
Okay, so today is free shout-outs. Anyways, all right, so I want you to give your last parting shot, but lastly, maybe the lesson you've learned since you came into business as a startup that you'd love to pass on to another, let's say, a young entrepreneur, I'm a young business owner, I'm anyone who has, you know, the entrepreneurial mindset and they want to envision themselves and see themselves in this space where you're operating, your parting shot as well, as we exit, and how they can get to, I say, support you. So is there a way they can purchase your stuff? Where can they find it? Stay into the camera, 30 seconds.
Let me talk to men, because my audience is primarily men. And I will tell men, this is what I've learned over just the last few months that I've been doing business. Don't fight alone. Do not fight alone. Whatever you're doing, you will gain more ground when you do it together as a community. So what that means is, find out other people in your sector. Go out there and find out for any competencies that you lack, and you will lack competencies simply because you're not fully equipped as a person to handle the fullness of a large vision. So you'll find incompetencies. For anywhere there are incompetencies, there is a community that can help you leverage and actually fill those incompetencies so that your effort can be more than the sum of its parts. Your results can be more than the sum of its parts. So that's one. And just generally, I'd like to say this: don't give up. Don't give up. There is still more in us. There is still more in us. Nairobi, Kenya, Africa. We have something to showcase to the world.
Yeah, okay. How can they support your business as we exit?
Please, for supporting my business, please go to, you can go to Charles Adinda, that's my TikTok handle. Also on Facebook, but especially for the business stories and socks is on Instagram, and you will find the link to the catalog where you can buy a variety of our products. We'd love to serve you in any way possible. Thank you.
All right, okay. Thank you, Charles Adinda, for coming through and sharing your story.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. I was told to actually say sentiments shared in this conversation are solely of our guest and do not reflect of Y254 channel or KBC channel 1. And we're going to say thank you for watching this segment. We're going to take a very short break, and Stephanie is going to be up next with the next conversation. You definitely would love to stick around for that. At Y254 channel, at Brand Soccer 101, the hashtag is Y in the morning. See you on the other side in a bit.
Welcome to the vibrant world of